how can I optimize my content for voice search? And now this is happening with Amazon, like Echoes and Alexas and Siris and everything, where things are going a lot more to voice activation of just like saying something to one of your smart devices and it gives you content back. Yes. So how can you optimize your content for voice search?
I have a couple different ideas with regard to this. If you think about how somebody utilizes a voice activated device, they typically ask it questions in a very colloquial, just a normal voice. So a lot of times when people, this kind of ties back into Tim's question about keywords and key phrases. A lot of times people will optimize something for, automotive window tint, and maybe to use, because, Tim says tint, so automotive window tint, and maybe their blog is perfectly optimized for automotive window tint, but if you're perfectly optimized for something that somebody isn't searching, somebody doesn't typically use like Siri or something like that and just say automotive window tint. They typically will say, Siri, tell me where I can get automotive window tinting near me, or something of that nature. So in that case, one of the most popular key phrases right now with regard to window tinting is window tinting near me. That's one of the top search terms. So people are starting to change the way that they search. And when they do, there's a term for this called long tail keywords, which means it's not just one or two words. It's more. Now, you had mentioned having one that's a little bit too long, and maybe that's why they would be kicking it back with regard to Tim. In some cases, you want to have a key for word or key phrase. If you find out by doing keyword research that window tinting near me is a very popular search, it would be very appropriate for you to create some content around and utilize the language on your website of the words window tinting near me. That's going to help you come up for some of those voice search and things like that. There are certain strategies and things like that you could use.
One sec.
I know our AI is going nuts because we're talking about this stuff. My phone was.
I was like, my phone is actually trying to get involved in the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So
but
that's
anyway,
what's gonna happen.
Long story short, you need to, again, back to keyword research. If there are key phrases and keywords that people are using, you need to have content on your website that corresponds to that keyword or key phrase, and that's what's going to allow you to come up. As voice search begins to be more and more popular, I think there's going to be certain hacks and certain techniques to do that. But as of right now, I think the biggest thing for people to do is think about how are people, if you had to sit down and say, okay, put yourself in the position of somebody sitting in front of a computer to search for your product or service, what are they typing in? A lot of times we get trapped into utilizing industry vernacular and things like that we all understand, but nobody outside of your industry utilizes that word or those word phrases or things like that. So the problem is that you might have pages on your website that are perfectly optimized for keywords and key phrases that nobody's searching for. So technically your website is SEO'd, but it's SEO'd for stuff that nobody's searching for. So it is really important that you make sure you do a little bit of keyword research and make sure you, again, a good litmus test is if you were to sit down in front of a computer and type something into Google to ask it a question or to ask it for how would you type it in, and then start to build out your keyword strategy around that. A good example in the window tinting industry is a lot of people in the industry utilize the term flat glass or residential window tint or residential window film. Problem with that is nobody outside of our industry utilizes those terms. They use terms like home window tint, home window tinting. Nobody uses the word flat glass. I mean, most people outside of our industry would be completely lost. They'd never type in flat glass in Chicago, Illinois, because they would never use the word flat glass. So anyway, just, even we use the word commercial window film a lot of times, but a lot of times people would use the term office window tinting or something like that. They wouldn't use the word commercial. So you really have to think about what people are actually typing into Google and then create an SEO strategy around what people are actually typing into Google, not what you think they're typing into Google or what you think should be optimized, what they're actually typing into Google, and then optimize around that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm sitting here. I was trying to find a sheet. There was this website I found through TikTok that would give you the top 50 searchable key phrases and stuff that people are asking. I'm actually going to put it in the comments. I found it. It's called Answer the Public. And so you just go in there. If you were to type in window tint, it's going to give you a bunch of different options as far as what those key phrases or people are asking. And sorry if my son's screaming outside. And so it kind of, you can use those as far as how you end up using that in your key phrase, or you can take that and then try to answer it in a question, a blog post, whatever it might be. So then it kind of gives you an ability to answer those questions that the people in your market are asking. So
hey, I hope you guys are paying attention to that, because what he just shared is pure gold. I mean, if you are looking to create content that sort of hits on certain things, that website could tell you what people are actually searching for and give you a lot of good insight into what type of content you should be creating on your website.